Hey guys, Ken here from the Retro Toy Escapades channel in Malaysia. We are just weeks away from the pre-order launch date of July 1st for the new M.A.S.K 40th anniversary toys for the loyal subjects and Hasbro. These are to be up officially on Big Bad Toy Store and probably a few other online retailers to be updated soon. In the meantime, the loyal subjects provided a recent update on the first wave of vehicles and figures, which comprise of Thunderhawk, Switchblade, the high-tech helicopter, Condor, and Rhino, the mobile defense unit. And this was quite frankly an update that nobody saw coming because as it turns out, each of the agent figures that come with the vehicles will now have two separate mask designs, which are a short and a long one. And the reason for this is actually a homage and a reference to an initiative taken by Kenner Toys in the 80s to swap out the original batch of smaller masks as worn by the agents and due to safety concerns now have them replaced with slightly longer ones that had these extensions on them. So what they did was actually make the masks longer and less easier to fall out or be swallowed perhaps by a child or even a pet, okay, for that matter. Now that original batch of mask designs was indeed very tiny, okay, in some cases almost microscopic, right? And okay, no kidding, you could easily lose this stuff. Okay, it could be a danger, like I said, to a kid or even your cat. So they decided to rework the designs, and at one point I actually had all of the long mask variants, okay, but then I sold them off a couple of years ago and I only held on to the short mask versions, which as it turns out was a mistake because I had no idea, okay, that these long masks would now be coming back into style, all right? But all of the photos that I'm showing you here are from my own personal collection over the years. It's from the archives, okay? I had all of the short mask and long mask variants. So we're going to be talking about all of these in the video today, along with the fact that they've also announced and confirmed that the masks will now come with blast effects, okay, sculpted blast effects. We actually suspected this a few months ago when they first debuted the images of the Rhino or the MDU. Okay, and we saw an image there of Bruce Sato with something firing out of his mask, okay? And it wasn't really clear because they didn't mention anything about it in the press release that the mask could do something like that. But now it's official, okay, that these things will come with blast effect attachments that you could put onto the mask to simulate the fact that they're firing something. Okay, so we're going to talk about it in today's video. Stick around, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let's get into it, guys. Okay, let's check out their official press release on social media. First up, Brad Turner, the brave pilot of the Condor, will feature two versions of his signature mask, which he can use to create powerful illusions to thwart Miles' mayhem. Now, when it comes to Brad Turner's original Hocus Pocus mask, the short version to me is definitely the better of the two, but it was about the size of a peanut. Alright, so it's probably not meant to be, and that's why it's now pretty rare to find today. Now, we are only getting renders of these new mask images from the loyal subjects, but based on what we saw at New York Toy Fair, they have made the Hocus Pocus mask longer and more elongated in the front, I guess. So even the short mask version technically looks longer now. And for the long mask, they have added the extended sections of plastic at the bottom, just like the original. His blast effect for Hocus Pocus is purple in color, and even though it's supposed to be crafting smoky illusions like Mysterio from Spider-Man, here it looks like one solid, thick, and blocky blast, right? Kind of like when Cyclops from the X-Men fires out his optic blast. Now, I will say that as you can see from the jagged edges here, the blast looks really rough when it exits the user's helmet. Now, what's with all the spikes here? Okay, next up is Matt Tracker, pilot of the Thunderhawk with a new Spectrum mask, which can unlock a toolkit of awesome and extraordinary powers to make sure the team comes out victorious. Okay, Spectrum, of course, is the most iconic mask here as it belongs to team leader Matt Tracker. The original first version mask is about the size of a single baked bean. You might even mistake it for one. So if this thing ever rolls down to the ground, hey, good luck finding it, okay? I may actually be one of the few who quite honestly likes the longer second version. I think that it's one of the best of all the long mask versions, and I think specifically like these cables that are running around the sides of the mask look pretty great, man. They actually reworked the mask a bit instead of just having it be the same design with a lower extension. However, the blast effect here is something else. Okay, Spectrum is seen shooting out something that looks like a mutated yellow popsicle. All right, this is pretty crazy. Okay, next up, we've got Miles Mayhem. It says here, the villainous Miles Mayhem comes with his evil Viper Mask, which he can use to fire blasts of corrosive poison at the M.A.S.K team. Will he rise victorious? Okay, now, checking this thing out, Miles' Viper Mask has a green spray effect that looks like a fountain of deadly toxin shooting out. Certainly what the Viper is capable of. However, the interesting thing about the Viper Mask, and something that is carried over from the 80s original, is that both the short and long mask are in fact the same size. Alright, the short mask is fully covered up, while the long mask has an open section at the mouth area. In a surprising twist, I actually have the long mask for the original this time around and not the short one. Now you can see Miles' mustache and mouth through the open area here. It's as though having these open sections makes it less likely for this to be mistaken for something that could be swallowed, right? Okay, now, last but not least, we've got the Mobile Defense Unit piloted by Matt Tracker and Bruce Sato. Each will come with their incredible and powerful masks. The wise Bruce Sato uses his lifter mask to control gravity and levitate, while Matt Tracker's Ultra Flash mask lets him blind his attackers with a white-hot blast of blinding light. Yeah, they said blind twice there in the same sentence. Okay, guys, check this out, okay? When it comes to Bruce's lifter mask, it's got an interesting design that looks like a gravitational ring of some kind. Although, looking at how it exits the mask, it looks like it exploded out, man. Right? And as for Ultra Flash, they use the same image here as the blast effect render for Spectrum. So I guess the effects attachments for both of Matt's masks are the same. Okay, you tell me. Now when it comes to the originals, I'm definitely a fan of the short versions for both masks. Ultra Flash in particular is notable for being prominently featured in the main M.A.S.K brand logo itself. Here's something interesting. They repainted Ultra Flash into super bright blue for the Matt Tracker figure that came with 1988's Laser Command set. Incidentally, the last mask release ever. Okay, now you can see it's the same mask design as Ultra Flash, only with the extensions at the bottom and the open areas on the top of the mask. Guys, it seems like these new M.A.S.K 40th anniversary toys will have more value-added surprises than we expected. Let me know what you guys think about the reveals in the comment section, and I'll talk to you guys again real soon. Thank you, and take care out there.